From Abuja to Lagos, Sokoto to Port Harcourt, Enugu to Ilorin, all across Nigeria, we bring you news and information that will make your day. We are news. We are 24 News Radio TV. To 24 News Radio and Television, your trusted companion for real-time updates, expert analysis, and compelling conversations. We bring the world closer to you with clear, credible, and concise information at every moment. With our seasoned reporters and sharp broadcasters, we dig deep to uncover the facts behind the headlines from your neighborhood to the global stage. Stay connected with 24 News Radio and Television for breaking news and current happenings across the globe. Print radio and television. The world is closer than you think.
A very beautiful morning to you. Welcome and thank you very much for joining us on the newspaper review on 24 News Radio and Television today in the dailies. My name is Olushola. We're welcoming you aboard, and as usual, we have the usual lineup of newspapers to for your listening and viewing pleasure this morning. There's the Punch, there's the Tribune, there's the Daily Post, there's the Sun, and of course the Nation. Let's quickly give you a rundown of the top stories this morning. From the Punch comes the story 2027 PDP ticket zoning to South splits North. And other highlight stories are Thai woman jailed for royal insult, freed after 8 years. Maulud celebrations, police promised that security in Jigawa. And Jigawa declares Wednesday public holiday to celebrate the 35th anniversary. And about ASU, Unizik blocks expressway, demands end to poverty salary. And still on the ASU strike, ASU protest rocks campuses ahead of federal government talks. Still coming to you from the front page of the Punch. Probe begins as Abuja Kaduna train mishap in just 6. All this and more will be coming your way from the Punch. And from the Daily Post, we have highlight stories like petrol price cut, Dangote refinery mum over failed fuel distribution deadline. Nigerian newspapers, I gave up my presidential ambition to allow PDP zone ticket to South, Bala Mohammed. Meanwhile, we did tell you just now that that decision seems to be splitting the North. A very sad story here. Nigerian monarch Joseph Oloyede, that's the Oba of Ikwetumodu in Osun State, jailed for fraud in the United States. Taraba Deputy Governor Al-Khalif returns after long absence. And 2027, Peter Obi can get presidential ticket if it returns to PDP. Abba Moro. Like I said, all these and more stories will be coming your way this morning. Do stay with us. We'll be back very shortly. On to the very first story this morning, the headline story that the zoning of the PDP ticket to the South is splitting the North, coming from the Punch. It goes thus: the decision by the leadership of the People's Democratic Party (PDP) to zone its 2027 presidential groups in different camps, many describing the development as undemocratic and contrary to the spirit of fair competition. The National Executive Committee of the party, at its 102nd meeting on Monday, zoned the presidential ticket to the South while retaining the current National Working Committee headed by Ambassador Umar Damago. Although prominent northern figures in the PDP, including foundation members like former Information Minister Professor Jerry Ghana, have been in the forefront urging the party to go south in the search of a candidate to vie against President Bola Tinubu and the All Progressive Congress, some northern stakeholders have warned of the danger of losing significant votes in a region known for its voting strength. That story is coming to you from The Punch, and for more on that, you can check it out from The Punch newspaper. And as a follow-up to that story, we're going to the Daily Post, where the report has it that 2027, Peter Obi can get presidential ticket if he returns to PDP. That story is credited to Abba Moro. The lawmaker representing Benue South Senatorial District, Abba Moro, has said the presidential candidate of the Labour Party in the 2023 general elections, Peter Obi, stands the chance of securing the presidential ticket of the PDP if he returns to the party. Moro, who is the Senate Minority Leader, made the statement on Tuesday while responding to questions in an interview on Politics Today, a program on Channels Television. When asked about the possibility of Peter Obi returning to the PDP, the lawmaker said, and I quote, "But you know, in politics, nothing is certain. I've always said that in politics, 2 plus 2 is not 4. And so, these are matters of interest. And when it comes to existential interest from a community of persons within the geopolitical zone, it is possible." That story you can check out in the Daily. And now on to the next story, still coming to you from the Punch. Maulud celebrations, police promise tight security in Jigawa. The Jigawa State Police Command has assured residents of tight security arrangements for a peaceful Maulud celebration across the state. Rabiul Awal is the third month of the Islamic calendar and is significant for Muslims worldwide as it marks the birth of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. The Sultan of Sokoto and President General of the Nigeria Supreme Council for Islamic Affairs, Muhammad Sa'ad Abubakar, had announced Monday, August 25, 2025 as the first day of Rabiul Awal 1447 AH. The birthday, known as Maulid al-Nabi, is celebrated with prayers, Quran recitations, sermons, congregational gatherings, and acts of charity throughout the month. And still on the Maulud celebrations, Jigawa declares Wednesday public holiday to celebrate 35th anniversary. Oh well, this is another story. Actually, this is the 35th anniversary of the creation of Jigawa State, and the story goes thus. The Jigawa State government has declared Wednesday today a work-free day to mark the 3rd anniversary. In 1991, it was called Old Kano State. At the same time, other states created include Yobe, Enugu, Bauchi, and Kogi states, all part of the same state creation exercise aimed at administrative convenience and fostering development. In a statement signed by the Jigawa State Head of Service, Muhammad Dagacheri, and made available to journalists in Dutse, the state capital, the residents are encouraged to join festivities and activities planned across the state to celebrate the special day. For more on that, you can turn to the Punch newspaper. Now on to another major event, presently talking about the strike of the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU. There's a story in the Punch that says, ASU, Unizik blocks expressway, demands end to poverty salary. The Academic Staff Union of Universities, Nnamdi Azikiwe University, Awka chapter, on Tuesday, joined the nationwide protest of the union, lamenting that lecturers have been on the same salary scale for 16 years despite worsening economic realities. The protesting lecturers, led by the branch chairman, Innocent Nubia, blocked parts of the Enugu-Awka-Onitsha Expressway and marched across the university campus carrying placards with inscriptions such as "End poverty salary now, FD stop deceiving us," and "We don't want loan, pay us our money." Nubia said the federal government has failed to implement the renegotiated 2009 agreement, which was due for renewal in 2020, describing the situation as a show of shame. As of 2009, a professor earned about $3,000 in salary, but today it is less than $400. This is pitiable and unacceptable. For once, I do empathize with the academic staff, of universities, but then, it's a general problem. It cuts across all strata of society. For more on that story, check it out in the Punch this morning. All right, let's move on to the next story, and it has to do with the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, as he continues to battle contending forces to actually stabilize the country called Nigeria. The story here says Tinubu meets NGX, SEC chiefs in Brazil, hails capital market gains. And the body of the story goes thus. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu on Tuesday praised the remarkable growth of Nigeria's capital market under his administration. This is as he credited investors' confidence in his economic reforms for the surge in activity on the Nigerian exchange. He disclosed this while receiving the Director General of the Securities and Exchange Commission, Dr. Emomotimi Agama, and the Board of Directors of the Nigerian Exchange Group in Brazil during his state visit. The president said the expansion of market capitalization and trading volumes reflected the strength of his policies. The State House confirmed the meeting in a statement dated August 26, 2025, signed by Presidential Advisor Bayo Onanuga and posted on X on Wednesday morning. Like I said, that story is also coming to you from the Punch this morning. For more on that, you can check it out in the paper. On to the next story. This one is coming from the Daily Post, and it says Taraba Deputy Governor Alkali returns after long absence. The Deputy Governor of Taraba State, Aminu Alkali, has returned to Jalingo, the state capital, after a prolonged absence. Daily Trust reports that Alkali flew in through the Yellow Airport. There is also a short clip of him making the rounds of social media. Alkali arrived from Abuja and was driven to his official residence at the government house and a convoy of 4 vehicles. He was last seen in off-go, and since then, there were rumors that Alkali was battling an undisclosed ailment. I'd like to say that in stellar times, perhaps the deputy governor would have resigned on the ground of poor health and allowed somebody else to take over. But well, this is Nigeria, where anything goes. Now on to another traditional institution in Nigeria, as the report has it, the Nigerian monarch Joseph Oloyede jailed for fraud in United States. However, Joseph Oloyede of Ikotumodu in Osun State has been jailed in the United States. The trial judge Christopher Boyko sentenced the monarch on Tuesday over $4.2 million fraud. Daily Post reports that Oba Oloyede and the Nigerian pastor Edward Oluwasomi were arrested in April 2024 over $4.2 million COVID-19 fraud. According to the 13 charge sheets against them, the duo submitted loan applications with false information. However, Justice Boyko, in his ruling on Tuesday, sentenced Oloyede to 56 months in prison, ordered him to serve 3 years of supervised release after imprisonment, and pay $4,408,543 in restitution. The U.S. Attorney's Office in the Northern District of Ohio, in a statement released, disclosed that the Nigerian monarch will forfeit the $96,006 earlier seized by investigators and his Medina residence. Like I said, that's a very sad one indeed for the traditional institution in Nigeria. And now on to the next story, this time coming from the Nation newspaper. Abuja-Kaduna train derailment, Tinubu promises support. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has assured that swift action and support will follow yesterday's derailment of the Abuja-Kaduna bound train. The president spoke after receiving continuous updates on the incident while on a state visit to Brazil. In a message posted on his verified X handle at official ABAT, that's official Ahmed Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the president said he was deeply saddened by the development and expressed his sympathy to passengers affected. Even while in Brazil, I have received reports of today's Abuja-Kaduna rail derailment, and I'm deeply saddened by this incident. My heartfelt prayers are with the injured, their families, and all passengers who went through the distressing experience. And I want to quote somebody who is a true-born son of Ekiti State, and the person of Congressman Bimbo Daramola, who has actually suggested that it is high time they put sensors on our tracks across the length and breadth of the country. For more on that story, check it out in the Nation newspaper this morning. Another story coming to you from the Nation newspaper this morning says 13 kidnapped passengers rescued in Edo, says the State Commissioner of Police. Edo State Commissioner of Police CP Monday Agbonika has confirmed the rescue of the 13 passengers kidnapped by gunmen. The passengers were armed men around Ekiadolo on the Benin or the Expressway Saturday afternoon after gunmen attacked the bus they were in. The kidnappers had shot the bus driver and abandoned him beside the bus before marching the victims into surrounding bushes. Well, that's something that really calls for attention from all governments at all levels, the federal government, the state government, and of course the local government administrations. Kidnapping has risen to an all-time high in Nigeria, and that is actually in addition to all the other challenges the average Nigerian is coping with presently. All right, back to the story of zoning the presidency to the south. This time coming from the Vanguard. There's a headline that says northern blocs are kicking against that decision. Let's quickly take a few paragraphs from the body of the story. The polity had a foretaste of what to expect in the 2027 presidential elections yesterday, as the People's Democratic Party PDP's zoning of its presidential ticket to the south is raising dust. Coming against the backdrop of President Bola Tinubu, another southerner, being backed by critical blocs of the All Progressive Congress APC to stand for re-election on the ruling party's platform, it means any northerner vying for PDP or APC presidential flag is on his own. That story you can check out in the Vanguard this morning. Well, it seems that the political landscape is now heating up once again. Let us hope that we're able to scale through and survive whatever comes along. And back to the Daily Post. National ticket of the PDP to the south. A prominent northerner is saying here, I have my presidential ambition to allow PDP's own ticket to a former governor, Bala Mohammed. Well, he's still a serving governor actually, I beg your pardon. Mohammed of Bauchi State as with the zoning of the PDP presidential ticket to the south. Mohammed, who is the chairman of the PDP Governors Forum, said he gave up his ambition to allow the PDP's ticket to the south. As journalists yesterday, the governor said it was part of the decision making regarding the zoning. He said, and out of it, from the arrangement, strategy, and delivery. It's an all-inclusive decision for us to have our neck in Ibadan, your state, and sustain the existing zoning formula in the party offices and to zone the presidential office to the south-south so that we can have some sanity, understanding, and unity. I'm calling on Nigerians to know that politics is not about personal interest. It's about self-actualization within the framework of party decisions, manifesto, and national development. And I quote again, everything is predicated on sacrifice, not interest. And of course, we must always give allowance, respect each other, and power comes from God. That's a story you'll find in the Daily Post this morning. Still on the ongoing controversy about the zoning, another story here says APC PDP risk backlash for excluding North scholar. Our political scholar, Professor Kate Stowe in Gabu, has warned that both the ruling All Progressives Congress APC and the opposition People's Democratic Party PDP may lose the 2027 presidential election for sidelining the North. Professor Mbabu, who leads a group of North Central stakeholders pushing for power shift to the region, said this on Tuesday at a press conference in Abuja. He faulted the APC for adopting President Bola Ahmed Tinubu as its sole candidate and the PDP for zoning its ticket to the south. He stressed that ignoring the North Central would have serious political consequences. I dare say that some people just hit up the polity intentionally. I thought they had a gentleman's agreement prior to the presidency be in the south for the next 8 years. So if any contestant is coming out, logic suggests that it must be from the south. So let me now take a story from a prominent southerner in the in the person of Chief Olabode George. Also coming from the Daily Post, it says, PDP members demanding zoning of presidential ticket to North selfish, Bode George. A former deputy national chairman of the PDP, Bode George, has described calls for the 2027 presidential ticket to the North as selfish and manipulative. George stated this on Tuesday when he was responding to questions in an interview on Lunchtime Politics, a program on Channels Television. The PDP chieftain hailed the decision of PDP governors and the National Executive Council (NEC) to zone the ticket to the southern region while retaining the chairmanship in the north. For more on that, check it out in the Daily Post. to know you're still with us as we now move on to the fighting scene this morning. We're taking the first story from the Punch. It says Thai woman jail was jailed for 8 years in Thailand for actually insulting the monarch. For more on that, you can check it out from the Punch newspaper. And still coming from the Punch, we already brought you the story of the jailing of an Osun paramount ruler who was jailed in the US over a 4.2 million naira fraud during the COVID 2019 period. You can also find that story in the Punch. Now, another story from the Punch says Trump to chair large meeting on post-war Gaza, according to a US envoy. And Mauritius tops Africa in 2020 Good Government Index. All this are coming to you from the Punch as well. After this, time out with stories as well. To wrap up the newspaper review this morning, today in the dailies, we'll be bringing you snippets of happenings in the world of sports, and we'll be taking it from the Daily Post. The first one says transfer: Newcastle identifies 7 strikers as potential replacement for Alexander Isak. And Champions League: 3 clubs qualify for league phase after play-off fixtures. And still coming from the Daily Post, transfer: Real Madrid enter Maino to find new club. There's another story that says EPL: I no longer support Manchester United. That's coming from a very, very popular and of course successful boxer, Tyson Fury, a British national. And also transfer: Chelsea's deal for Enciso set to collapse after failed medicals. And also Carabao Cup: 19 teams qualify for third round. All this and more you can get from the Daily Post this morning. On that note, we want to wrap it up and tight on the program this morning. And thank you for your time. We do sincerely apologize for coming on a little bit behind schedule. But nonetheless, do stay with us.